All right, The Purge, episode 2, Take What's Yours. I think that this episode is one of those things that reminds us that of those days when it used to be like, oh, let's go into television, and you'd be like, ah, shit, like it won't have as good of a production value. You know, the action sequences, all that will feel really stilted and whatnot. That's kind of what this reminds me of here. The show doesn't have a great production value to it so far in its like action set pieces. The gauntlet that Miguel gets in is extremely lackluster. I think that could have been a really great sequence for this episode, and it ended up just being really like, I don't know, not fun. Just kind of real paint by numbers. I know you use that expression a lot, but it's just kind of like, and there's a guy, and he punches him, and he takes his axe, and he beats him, and then he walks through this thing, and then he gets out, and then he beats another guy up, and then he wins. And it's like, that's all the gauntlet was? Like, that just should have been, you know, that could have been the whole episode, you know? He could have got caught at the end of the last episode, you know, maybe at the end of this episode, and then the third episode would have just been his whole time in the episode should have been him going through the gauntlet. Like, I just feel like the gauntlet itself is a really cool idea. I like it, and it's also being kind of backed and funded to be put on live television. And you know, there's this guy who's hosting it, who's promoting his damn car dealership, and he's like, come on in and mention the Purge and you get 10% off. Like, using it as a publicity stunt as well. It's fucking crazy. Like, and I don't know, it ends up not really being all that interesting to me. It's just kind of like, beats up a guy, kills him, beats up a guy, kills him, goes through this little, like, the saws are coming, which I just thought was a little actually over the top. It's fine. It was just kind of like, is this an Indiana Jones movie all of a sudden or something? It just, I don't know. That really kind of didn't work for me, and that sucks because I think it was a good idea. And it was just poorly executed. That's my opinion. Hopefully you guys didn't feel that way. I like that this guy in the truck that's driving around, and he's like pulling up pictures of people, and he's the last guy that we see. He like packs a lunch, like he's just going, you know, a day at the office, which I have to believe, and maybe it's very clear because of the voice, but it's got to be William Baldwin's character, right? That's what I've got to guess here. It's the boss, that he's out, and this is his purging. Now, what he would be doing, I don't know. I could be wrong on this. But it sounded like his voice at the end, and it's really the only character that we've been introduced to that is not on screen right now that, you know, this could be. So if it's a character that we have already been previously introduced to, I feel like it has to be him because I can't think of anybody else that's missing that has been introduced anywhere else in the show that it couldn't be. So I think it might be him. For what reason, I don't know. Is he protecting people? What's he doing in there? I don't. He could have just let those guys go in and kill that girl. So he has to confirm the kill. I don't know. Maybe it's his purge list, because that girl says earlier in the episode, the one that is talking to Jane, she is like, you know, the bigger girl who got walked out on a date, and she talks about a purge list, like a secret purge list, which is kind of funny because, you know, in their world, that's like a normal thing to talk about. In our world, it's like, oh, well, like what do you and your husband have? Like, what's your hall pass? You know, who's your secret? I want to fuck, but I can't because I'm married, kind of thing. And in their world, it's like, who's on your purge list, your dream purge list, you know, if you were to ever do it, or if, you know, whatever. And I like that's in there, because it just shows you the mentality of the purge. It just kind of becomes a throwaway conversation, like, who would you murder? And you could legally do it on that night. So, but she kind of, she keeps going further into it and being a little too, forthcoming with what she's saying. Like, okay, like, something's going on here. Now you're talking about paying somebody to kill somebody, which I did. I mean, I'd said in the last episode that Jane was probably paying that chick to rob the place, but Not super far off. I mean, I am, but I'm not like, she's doing it to go higher up to get more money. I mean, she wants her respect, right? She's being, she's kind of being pigeonholed into her position. She can't get out of there because they're holding her back. And so she thinks that Baldwin is responsible for this, or so I think. I mean, it hasn't even been confirmed for sure, but I think it's like 100% at this point. She hired this chick to go in there and take him out. But this hitman, and I love that whole idea too of there's a hitman for hire on Purge night. Like, you pay me enough money, I'll go out. And that's kind of been explored a little bit in the Purge series before, but just, I don't know. There's lots of really interesting ideas to explore in here, and I like that they're kind of hitting here and there with new kind of spins on things. Then we got the Jenna thing, which that storyline right now so far is very uninteresting. It's like, who cares? You guys had a three-way. Who gives a fuck? Like, grow up. It's kind of like it's Leela. That's what I want to call her because I have a friend named Leela. Lila, there we go. Lila's like, can't we just be adults and just laugh about this? It's like, yeah, dude, why'd you fuck her if you didn't want to? Like, I get it. There's people that you have sex with, and some time later you're like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. But you get over it, especially if that chick doesn't care. And they're just like letting it ruin their relationship and everything. It's like, you fucked a hot chick together. Big deal. And clearly, Jenna is still into Lila. But I don't know, the story so far with them, it's character development, so it's fine. If it goes somewhere, great. It's just so far, 2 episodes in a row now, it's just like, they had a threesome, and it's awkward. Okay, let's move on. 2 episodes in. Now they're making out at the end of this at the pool, and she was going over and talking to Rick, and Rick was like real, passe about it. But when Jenna sees Lila coming at her, she like tries to play it like she doesn't want to see her and that she's all hoity-toity, and then she's like, she just kind of makes a beeline, makes a curve, gets the fuck away from her, and you can see just the disappointment on her face, and it was just like, I don't know, this could have been done so much faster. 2 episodes, that's all their characters have done so far. That's my problem with it. I don't feel like I know anything about these characters in 2 episodes outside of that they're married and they had a threesome with someone they wish they hadn't. And now Jenna clearly has a thing for her, and they got a little make-out sesh going. So I don't know, it's just drama for drama's sake. It's not playing into the story much yet. But 3rd episode, might take a big turn. Then the bus that's driving around, we get to see this girl named Melissa, and Melissa is immediately regretting like being part of this shit. And Penelope, Miguel's sister, who he's after in this season, tries to take her place, and she's like, please, I want to go. Like, she is completely committed to it. She wants to be there, and she wants to go, and she's pissed that she can't. So Miguel's got his work cut out for him because his sister seems very committed to this cause. She wants to die. She is suicidal, and she just wants someone to do it for her. She wants to go to the invisible. There's their name for heaven or something. The invisible awaits. Let's see, where are we at? Miguel wins this gauntlet, and he ends up getting himself a cool car. Just really wish that could have been a little bit more. The poor Melissa, man. Just her screaming like, I made a mistake, I regret it, like, don't, please, I don't want to die. And then her screaming, help me, and these guys dragging her away and beating her with golf clubs. It's so fucking depressing. It's so sad, man. It actually really bummed me the fuck out when it was happening. I was like, oh God, this poor young girl is just getting brutally beaten. And she's just screaming like, no, she's such a dumb young kid. Like, this is such a mistake these kids can get into with these cults. And then just like last minute, it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to die. And just to her screaming and all that kind of reminds me of Friday the 13th, part 4, the final chapter. Dude's down there screaming, fucking, he's killing me. As I said, it always plays for laughs for people, but it's sad. It's so sad. He failed avenging his sister's death, and I don't know. So just, yeah, when people are screaming out, like, please, I don't want to die, and they're just being beaten, it's so fucked up. So, yeah, anyway. I think I talked about mostly everything. And then, yeah, Miguel makes his way to this bar where Mike the cop, is that what he's saying? Has information on where the bus is, and Mike the cop doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I don't give a shit, get out. And Miguel just kind of laughs, so he's going to have to get it out of him somehow. I do not know. As far as, I mean, everything's kind of set up. I don't really have any guesses outside of Baldwin being the dude in the truck. Like, unless it's just some completely different character, if I'm not remembering. I was working on Castle Rock and so many other things recently that, weirdly, I've seen a lot since the last episode, but I don't remember any other character or anything. So that's my guess. Anybody else? I know Tiffany's got something for me. She says she wants to talk to me about a theory. So now that I've seen it, lay it on me. Yeah, until next week, guys. Adios.